The chair that went viral last year is back, and this time they made two more of them. One is the most refined version of the original LiberNovo Omni. The other is the one that a lot of you have been asking for. Same dynamic feel, manual controls, and a lower price. I've been sitting in both of these for a couple of weeks now, and there's a lot to talk about. So let's get into it. But first, some quick context before we dive in. If you've been on the channel for a while, you already know that I've covered the original LiberNovo Omni after it launched. That chair blew up. People call it the viral chair, and honestly, after living with it, I got why. So today we're looking at two new models in the lineup. The Omni SE, which is the manual version, and the Omni Pro, which is the premium electronic version. Think of this as a first look, a feature breakdown, and kind of a mini review all rolled into one. And yeah, full transparency, this video is sponsored by LiberNovo. They reached out, sent the chairs over, and asked me to share my honest take on what's new. But as always, my opinions are my own. One more important thing to note before we get started. The two units I have here are PBT models, which basically means they're about 95% complete prototypes. LiberNovo may still change a few small finishing details before launch, which is expected in late June. Oh, and one more thing. The new Omni footrest wasn't ready in time for filming, so I'll be using the original footrest that you've seen before. But the only update on the new footrest is that the fabric and color will match the chair that you get. So functionally, there are no changes. Cool? Now let's get into the assembly. Starting with the Omni SE, everything shows up in one big box, and that's honestly one of the things I appreciated about the original Omni too. It's all well packaged, and when you open it up, everything you need is right there, tools included. LiberNovo includes this giant assembly guide which is really well done. The illustrations are huge, the steps are clear, and there's a QR code right on the guide that takes you to a video walkthrough if you'd rather follow along that way. Compared to the original Omni, I noticed there are a few extra screws this time around, mostly around how the backrest gets attached. But I did notice that every screw lined up easier than it did on the previous model. The threading just felt cleaner and the holes felt more precise. From start to finish, I think maybe you're looking at 15 to 25 minutes tops to put this thing together. Next up, we have the Omni Pro. I'll keep this section shorter because the assembly process is pretty much the same thing as the SE. But there are a few things worth pointing out. The first thing I noticed when starting to put the Pro together is the weight of the base. It's a metal die-cast aluminum alloy, and you can feel it the moment you pick it up. It just feels more substantial. The fabric also feels noticeably nicer than the SE, but we'll get into more of that later. The last real difference in the assembly is that the Pro has electronics. So at one point you're connecting a USB-C cable from the base up to the seat cushion, and then you're slotting in the battery. Alright, now that they're all built, we're going to deep dive into the new features, starting with the Omni SE. This is the manual version, and it comes in one color, called Obsidian, which is basically a deep black. Here you can see it next to the original Omni's midnight black color. But the biggest functional upgrade across both new models is the recline system. The original Omni had 4 recline positions. The SE and the Pro now have 5. And this is what they did. Instead of just adding more angles randomly, they listened to the feedback and added 2 new positions in the upright work zone. Specifically, a 115 degree position and a 125 degree position. So now you've got 105 degrees for deep focus, the new 115 degrees recline for balanced everyday work, the new 125 degrees for that long, locked-in flow state, 135 degrees for a soft recline, and then 160 degrees recline for full decompression and relaxation. And honestly, this is one of the things I love the most about the Omni line. These recline modes give you so many use cases inside a single setup. Heads down work, you've got a position. Casual browsing or hopping into a long session, you've got a position. Handheld gaming, console gaming on the couch chair next to your desk vibes, covered. Just want to lean back, throw on some music, or watch something for 20 minutes? You got it. One chair, a ton of modes. Another nice thing I'll give them credit for is that the customizable range across pretty much every touchpoint has gotten better as well. The neck support and headrest have more travel, more tilt, and a thicker center cushion. You can see the difference between the original Omni and the SE here. But now, the headline feature of the SE is that it's fully manual. There's no battery, no motor, no electronics. This time you adjust the lumbar support system with a screw-driven knob, and you can really feel the tactile, deliberate control. You pull the knob out and dial it exactly where you want it. I did notice that if you don't pull out the knob, you can still adjust it by turning it, but there's a lot more resistance. The armrests also drop lower and go higher than before. And the lumbar adjustment arc is also now smoother. The front edge of the seat is also reinforced and slightly raised now, so you don't slide forward as much during long sessions, which was an issue for some users with the original Omni. Across the board, the chair just seems like it fits more body types more comfortably. That said, both the SE and the Pro still only come in the same two seat cushion sizes as before, 45 centimeters and 48 centimeters. And the seat depth itself is still not adjustable. I know some of the taller folks in the original Omni reviews flag that, and it's still a bit of a limitation here. But, as I stated in my previous review, it was not exactly an issue for me personally, as I'm only 5 foot 6 inches. LiberNovo did tell me that they're working on a brand new lineup launching later this year called the Maxis. I'm guessing that it's going to be aimed at taller and larger users, but I genuinely can't confirm that yet. Hopefully I can get my hands on one soon and I can bring you that review when the time comes. Moving on to the price of the SE, LiberNovo hasn't shared the official number with me just yet. What they've told me though is that it will land at a noticeably lower price than the Pro, so it's positioned as a more affordable entry point into the Omni ecosystem. Once that number drops, I'll update the description for you guys and pin it in the comments. I think it's really cool that this chair is genuinely a community-driven decision. A lot of you said, I like the Omni, but I don't need the motorized lumbar system. I just want a manual chair and a cheaper price. The SE is the answer to that feedback. Quick pause. If you're digging this kind of breakdown, do me a favor and hit the like button and be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, YouTube added this new hype button, so if you're into this style of content that I make on the channel, hook me up with some hypes. It genuinely helps the video reach more people and helps me keep putting out content. Okay, moving on to the Omni Pro. This is the premium version of this lineup, and it's where LiberNovo really tried to push the experience forward. The Pro comes in two color options, Graphite and Glacier, essentially a gray one and a white one. This model right here is the Glacier color. While it does look great and stands out in a dark setup like mine, I think it looks even better in a lighter, brighter setup like my wife's home office. Now, let's talk about how the Pro compares to the original Omni and the new SE. The Pro is heavier, no question, mostly because of the electronics and the metal base. But that weight translates into a much more planted and sturdy feel. When you sit down, there's not much flex and no shift. It just feels more solid. It's also firmer and more supportive than the original Omni. Another thing I wanted to test for you guys is the armrests on all three chairs real quick. To be honest, they don't feel that different. Some of you guys might still consider them a little loose. I personally never had an issue with that since the steel case Leap I own also has very loose arms, so maybe I'm just used to it. And if you want to move the arms in and out, they're still solid and require a bit of force to adjust. Moving back to the Pro's features, let's talk about the material. The fabric is a Danish material called Gabriel Atlantic, and this stuff feels real nice. It's made in Europe, and LiberNovo says the fabric is rated at over 100,000 abrasion cycles, certified skin safe, internationally flame retardant compliant, and it's got excellent wash resistance. So in plain English, it's built to last, feels greater on your skin, and it's safe. This fabric feels a lot tighter than the original and the SE, which was one of my knocks on the original Omni I reviewed. It felt like it would be too easy to tear into, and I didn't know how long it would last. Even though it's lasted just fine so far, I'm glad they addressed that with the Pro. With this nicer and tighter fabric and in the Glacier white color, I think it looks a lot more premium than the other models. It'll look like a very modern and bold statement piece in your setup. Like others have said, the closest thing to it design-wise is probably the Herman Miller Embody. Alright, moving to the new big feature of this chair, the airflow mode, which is basically active seat ventilation. It has a high-speed centrifugal fan inside the seat cushion that draws air inward instead of just blowing air upward, which keeps you dry and cool during long sessions. There are two airflow levels that you can switch between with a single button in the control area of the left arm. If you ever sat in a leather or padded chair through a hot summer day and ended up peeling yourself off of it, you already know why this could be an awesome feature for you. I've been running it during work sessions near a window in my wife's office that gets a lot of direct sunlight and can confirm it works. The fan is powered by a 3000 mAh battery, and LiberNovo says you're getting 14 plus hours on the low setting and around 9 hours on high, assuming you're not running the lumbar adjustment or the Omni Stretch decompression cycle at the same time. It also has a smart sensor system, so if you get up, the airflow mode will stop. therefore giving you way more battery life. And if you sit back down within 30 minutes, it will automatically turn back on again. Speaking of, the Pro keeps the electronic dynamic lumbar system that made the original Omni go viral. It uses the Ergo Pulse motor, and it shapes the backrest into a natural S-curve that follows your spine as you move and recline. The Pro has the same upgraded 5-position recline as the SE, and you have the popular Omni stretch that most people use at 160 degrees, giving your spine a light 5-minute stretch that just feels good and relaxing. Another small but cool thing I noticed is the battery itself seems to have also been redesigned. There's a new open handle area in the front, so when you need to pop it out to charge it or swap it, it's now even easier to grab. So with the Pro, you get the same flexibility, same range of use cases, just with the added benefits of the electronics like the Omni Stretch, the lumbar support system, the cooling ventilation, and a more premium feel. Oh yeah, and as for the price, it's the same situation as the SE. LiberNovo hasn't locked in the final number yet, but they told me the Pro will land in the same neighborhood as the original Omni's price point. So it doesn't seem like it'll be a giant jump from what we've already seen despite all the upgrades. But I'll drop it in the comments as soon as I know for sure. Okay, now for my final thoughts. After using both of these chairs, I genuinely think that the new updates feel significant. This doesn't feel like a basic refresh just to put a new sticker on the box. The 5-position recline, the broader adjustability, the reinforced seat edge, the upgraded flexibility of the neck and headrest support, the airflow on the Pro, all of them add up to meaningfully better upgrades. Both the SE and the Pro are comfortable, supportive, and I think they hold their own against more expensive ergonomic brands that, in my opinion, give you fewer options while costing you more money. It's honestly one of the most comfortable line of chairs I've ever used, and I've covered a lot of chairs on this channel. Obviously, how you feel about it will depend on your body type and specific needs. But the big thing I keep coming back to, and that I love the most, is the versatility. I really like that it gives you more use cases inside a single piece of furniture. If you want to grab them for yourself, I've got an affiliate link to LiberNovo's site down in the description below. Now, these were my thoughts, but more importantly, I'd love to know what you guys are thinking. Are you Team SE for the manual feel and the better price? Or are you going to go for the Pro with the airflow, electronics, and the premium materials? Drop your answer in the comments because I'll be reading and responding to them. Big thanks to LiberNovo for sponsoring this video and for sending these prototypes over for me to spend some real time with and to share with everyone. And as always, if you've enjoyed this, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're new around here, and if you like my style of content, tap that hype button on your way out. That's it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.